Welcome to the TED Ed Podcast, where we delve into the issues that shape our daily lives and drive our productivity. We confront topics that matter deeply to all of us, from healthcare and affirmative action to voting rights and monetary success and failure. We cover it all. And yes, we dive into the complex world of politics, exploring how our country has evolved from slavery to the 21st century. Our content is crafted with care and expertise, drawing from years of experience in these critical areas. We invite you to give the TED Ed podcast a listen. You won't be disappointed. Share your thoughts with friends and confidants, and don't forget to like, comment, and share our episodes. Your engagement helps us grow and reach more listeners. Are you passionate about these topics? Do you have unique insights to share? You could be one of our guest speakers. Drop us a line, send an email, or leave a comment. All requests will be considered. Join us on this journey of exploration and understanding. This is the TED Ed Podcast. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Say what?
We got to get started today. We got to get started today, man.
You got a lot of stuff.
No, not really, man. My day has been dreary, man. It is raining outside, and uh, I have not been able to get motivated to do anything. But I have been checking my emails and looking at my Midas Touch program. The Miceless, is that how you pronounce their name? Miceless Boys Brothers or whatever. they shooting for that 4 million subscribers and stuff for their channel.
Minus touch.
Yes, they shooting for it, and man, they so close to it, man, that they can spit on it. And he just talked this morning about his Canadian friends and the fact that that Donald Diaper is still wants to putting out that crap about taking away Canada's sovereignty and forcing them into being a 51st state. So depending on how he feels during the day or at night when he wakes up on his social and start posting on his social media page, that he gonna send the army over there or the Marines or somebody or
That's just a ploy, bro.
whatever. I know it, but just him saying that, having the audacity to say that and to continue to say it, and knowing that them people up there have no plans at all, nada, to allow him to come up there and do
Oh, there
anything
are
in their
people there,
country.
bro. Let me tell you something. There are people in Canada that would love to do that.
We ain't found them.
They out
Not to
there.
become no 51st state. Well, they're in a true minority. They are in a true minority because they officials up there in most of them provinces and stuff and everything are dead set against having him come up there and do anything. They would be damn fools to try to come down here in this mess that we got going on down here in U.S. of A. Damn fools. If I'm them, I own some property down here, I'd be trying to sell it and go someplace else. They got other countries around the world who will accept them, got nice temperatures and everything. Hell. Whew. Sorry about that, people. It just irks me and stuff to see that knucklehead up there in the White House and stuff, and you still got Republicans out there who are placating this fool. Well, I see that his partner in crime, Elon, is out there. I guess since they done ran him out of the Treasury Department and all that, and the judge ran him out, he decided that he wants to mess with somebody else. So he's effing with Sam Altman, and OpenAI with a $97 billion bid to buy the company and stuff from them. And Sam said he ain't got no plans to letting him do nothing in there with his company at all.
Well, you know,
Uh,
it's a funny thing that you brought him up because that's all I've been reading about today.
okay, go ahead.
Because you remember we did some time ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, we did a thing on Elon Musk, all his little adventures, because he was coming up with that Tesla and all that, and then he had SpaceX, and also
And
2015.
he was digging these tunnels and stuff into Los Angeles and Las Vegas and a couple other places.
Yeah,
And
he's doing a lot of little stuff.
and he also and stuff was over there in Puerto Rico after they had lost all their power, and he did do a pretty good job of trying to help those folks out and everything with those batteries and stuff that he had shipped over there to them and stuff to help their country out. So
Well,
I thought
let's
he
put
was
it
all
like
right,
this
old
here.
boy then. But go ahead.
Ed, let me just say this. This man is a user. That's what he is, a user. And you know what? Hey, more power to him because he know how to wheel and deal. Okay, the co-founders of this Open AI, Musk was involved in that too as well.
Mm-hmm.
2015, it was a non-profit. I know you. I remember it like we was talking about it yesterday. I still got my books and notes on it. And the thing is that he was testing this out, and he didn't like it because the
Mm.
reason why is because he said, and you know, the more advanced it get, is that basically the machines can take over. That was his
True,
whole thing.
true.
So now, so he jumped out of the program. He only invested $45 million into the program. It was a nonprofit, and it was like a test thing. He liked the idea. I guess this guy is a real engineer, a real coder. He knows his stuff. So the guy was a nonprofit, but in 2022, guess what? Microsoft jumped in on this, bro.
I know.
So now he's a partnership with Microsoft. Microsoft owns 49% of the company.
Yep.
He only owns 51%.
Mm-hmm.
And he got millions from billions from them. So now he's living good. But here's what Elon Musk did. Because he was the co-founder, he's trying to convince these judges that, hey, I'm still the creator of all this stuff. Like he did something. I know he didn't do nothing. He hired a bunch of engineers and all that, coders and all that. He don't know. He don't code no more. He don't do none of that stuff no more. So he's trying to convince the board. He already had a meeting with the board and say, hey, we offering you $94 billion, almost $95 billion for this company.
I thought it was 97.
97, I apologize, almost 98, 97.4
Mm-hmm.
to be exact. So these people looking at it, but you know what? Microsoft, hey, this is our chat GPT.
Right. And they gambled on them early.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the gamble has paid off for Microsoft.
Yes.
They making money off of that.
That's why he said that he's not going to sell it. But he's going through the court systems, bro. See, he started a X AI. That's what he calls it, XAI. You got another company called XAI. And what I think what he want to do, he want to get that infrastructure. He want to get some of that infrastructure what they have. And I think what he if he gets some of that infrastructure that they have, because he was a co-founder. You know, these lawyers, you know, they tricky, bro. They can bring up some stuff and his involvement, his financial, because the company wouldn't have really taken off if it wasn't for Elon Musk. That's the guy came up with the idea, and then a few other people came in on it. So this is the thing. I believe that he wants that infrastructure that's already set up, and so
Well,
that you know.
well, they have probably. I'm looking at this thing, Ted. They have so much computing power, and that was the reason why Altman needed Microsoft's money to back them up. He needed that money because to build that computing power, you got to have a lot of money, billions of dollars and stuff to build that stuff up. So he may wind up uh, uh, through the court system and everything, and keeping them in court because he's learned a few tricks and stuff from his de facto boss and stuff about filing lawsuits against folks and everything to get what the heck you want. You may not get everything you want and everything, but you can give them enough trouble in the court system and everything, and pay enough money to where you can finally going to give up and say, okay, what the heck you want for we to settle this stuff and everything, get it out the way.
Yeah,
So
well, that's what I'm
really,
saying. That's
so
exactly what he
really,
want to do.
so really, probably the only thing that he probably looking at is to allow them to let him have access to some of that computing power that he needs and stuff and
That's
everything
exactly what
for
I
it.
just said. Now listen
Yeah.
to this. He got on X AI. He already he just started the XAI in 2023, March of 2023, and his thing was, I mean, the thing that the reason why he did it because to understand the true nature of the universe and other things. But he have 100 employees working on this. So all he does is he uses other people's brain, bro. That's what he does. He comes in and try to take over. Now he wants to buy that, but he ain't gonna be able to buy that unless he come up with a whole lot of money. And I don't think Microsoft is giving that up.
He wants to buy what?
He want to buy. He want to buy OpenAI
Okay.
for $97.4 billion.
That ain't enough money.
That's what I'm saying. He gonna have to come up with at least 200 to 300 billion. And I don't think Microsoft's still not gonna sell because uh, now his program you could get free.
Yeah, then it won't be free after he gains access to that computing power, because a lot of
And
those companies now are giving that stuff out free now, but they
so
starting to charge for it.
this is how he works, bro. This is how he works. He takes over companies that has already been established, and then he brings in other investors, and he's a good person to know how to see talent. He knows talent and people that know how to do things, and he knows how to figure it out. And then he learned from them, and then he go. That same thing he did with Tesla. That's the same thing he did with SpaceX. Same thing he's doing with this one here. And another thing that he's got going on the side too is he got the brain thing he got going. You remember I talked about that? Testing animals about, refigurating the brain, people that got all kinds of brain problems. He's doing that's another thing that he's doing. And he's working on that too as well. So besides the tunnels and all that stuff, this man has got his hands in about 10 to 12 things, that stuff we don't even know about. I think he's what they call it, a futuristic type person. He's about advancing technology and science and all that.
Okay. So what's going on with his $45 billion venture that he decided to stick his money into, and
No,
so
the $45 million he put in AI,
no, 45
open AI.
billion, 45
No, it was
billion.
45 million he initially invested in open AI.
Listen to what I'm saying. $45 billion he invested in something else. What did he invest $45 billion to buy?
Oh, you tell me.
Twitter. Remember that deal with Twitter about a
Oh, he
year
bought
ago?
that.
I know. What's going on with that? Because I heard that he losing money like hand over fist and stuff with that. All the employees and stuff
Well,
to
the
leave
dude
it.
throws some shade at him. He throws some shade at him. He said, "I'll buy X for $9 billion." He throws some shade at him. He said, "I'll buy X for $9 billion."
So and the reason why I brought it up is because all of his ventures and stuff does not bring forth a profit and stuff and everything. They do fail, and that's one of them. And everything that he's probably doing, like Trump does, and everything, and anything that fails, he kind of throws it by the wayside and everything, and covers it up, and hope people don't go back and look at that mess.
But there's a reason why there's a reason why he is the way he is now, because Obama was helping him, saved him. He saved him because Obama. You remember the station. We did a story on this. Obama, when you remember when the space project was going under and it was losing money and people weren't doing a whole lot of stuff with the space project, and what they weren't going to the moon, they wasn't going. They were just out there. And
Well,
they had out.
Well, I think what had happened, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm true, I'm thinking right. Uh, they had built the International Space Station, and they had these astronauts and stuff who were trying to go back and forth to the International Space Station, and they were competing with Russia during that time. And Russia was sending people up there, and they were bringing them back. And our space program had fell down, so he decided to find somebody else and stuff who could be able to get that project and stuff together so they can send these spaceships up there to bring our astronauts and stuff back home from the International Space Station.
No,
If
what
I'm
it
thinking right.
was, it was the satellites. He found a way to get all of those satellites up there because that was the big war. Who can get those satellites so that you can do all kinds of things? That's why you got that, what they call it, a starship, or what they call that, starlight or
Starlink,
whatever.
Starlink.
Starlink. That's all up in the space.
Right, I
And he
know.
can take that. He can move that thing anywhere he want to move it to, and use it and set up internet anywhere in the world.
But he's having a problem with that also now. He's got a big problem and stuff with that Starlink thing. Anyway, he can probably fix that, but he's still got a problem and stuff with it. But the government and stuff now has really, when Biden was in charge and stuff and everything, his folks and everything really gave him the flux and stuff with that, and told him that he had they had given him some money to get this thing up, and I guess this came to a time where he got to start paying that money back, and he started asking them for some more money to throw into to this project, and they told him, no, you need to give us that money. And he hasn't paid that money back. And now, since Trump is in charge and everything and stuff, now he probably won't never pay that money back. And
And
so,
here's another thing.
and hasn't nobody brought that up yet too, that if he pays his bills, maybe we might be able to balance the budget.
Well, we did a thing on it's only about 15 billion to $20 billion.
But still, that's a lot of money to when you talking about cutting the program for U.S. aid and everything that you can pay. You
Which
can
is
use
only
that money to pay the
8.5
U.S.
billion.
aid, right?
By the way, it's only $8.5 billion.
Right, you can pay that. So you can keep that going for at least 2 or 3 years if he pay his bills. All he got to do is pay his bills, and we can keep the USA going.
Well, not only that, is that the FFA guy that he fired, you heard about that story, didn't you?
Well,
The FFA guy that he fired sued Musk and fined him because his little raggedy landings, even though they hit the spot, he left a whole lot of debris all over the ocean and messing the airways up.
hmm
So the guy sued him for hundreds of millions of dollars that he's supposed to pay, fined him. So Musk got mad at him. That's why Musk went in there and fired him.
well,
And I don't know
you
why the
got
guy's not on TV telling
it's
everybody this.
it's a lot of
Why this guy's not
as
on TV telling
well,
everybody this?
Ted, like we said and you said about what 3 shows ago. Follow the money. Follow the money, and you're gonna come up with a lot of ghosts in the closet and bones and stuff laying in the closet. You follow that money. Oh man, this is too much. Uh, I was gonna say something, man, and you brought this thing about Musk and all that other stuff and everything, and I'm saying to
He in a
myself,
bunch of mess, bro.
yeah, we and to hear and most people and stuff out there have no idea when somebody brings up this statement, a constitutional crisis, and they're sitting back there. What the hell is he talking about? A constitutional crisis,
Big
and
time, big time.
that's where we at in a constitutional crisis because this man is talking about violating, not doing what the court asked him to do, violating their order. And when you start violating the court's order, you get into yourself into a constitutional crisis because you have the executive branch of the government and you have the judicial branch of the government. And when you violate the order of the judicial branch, then you're creating a constitutional crisis. And will he follow through with it, or is this just some bluster on his part? We don't know. But just the fact that he even said it, and some of his other people around him are even backing him up with it and everything, is dangerous. And I'm saying to myself, and I know a lot of other people out there doing on these news shows are saying, if this son of a gun does that, what is the judicial system going to do? He's already violated one of the judge's orders, and he's came back and told him because he hasn't been paying everybody like he had told them to pay, and he stopped paying a certain group of people. And they came back to court and said, "Hey, he's not paying us." So the judge said, "Why aren't you paying him?" And he said to them, "I ain't gonna do it." So people are wondering, and they talking to these legal minds, what does the judicial system have to do?
Well, you asked the question, you answer it. Because I have no idea.
What happens if they do not do what the judge ordered to do? And because he is just the president of the United States, the judge calls in the head of those departments and arrests them.
That's exactly what I thought.
He arrests those department heads. You're not
That's
going to
a,
pay. We're going to send the U.S. Marshal Service over there and put out a warrant for your arrest if you violate my order. You don't pay them, you're going to jail. And Trump sits back and laughs at him. Well, he arrested them. Now, everybody is wondering what is the Supreme Court going to do about this? it goes that far. I believe in my infinite wisdom that they are going to back those federal judges up. You
Who was
cannot,
they?
huh?
Who was they?
The Supreme Court.
Really?
Oh, yes, they have to. If they
I
allow
believe it when I
him,
see it.
if they allow him to do that or whatever to do that and tell the federal judges that they can't do that and everything, they lose all the power that they have because their power doesn't lie in them being the wise man up there. Their power lies with the people if they pass an order down to follow it. If the judicial system and stuff, orders and stuff are not being followed, you weaken the whole judicial system. It becomes a non-entity, and they don't want to lose their jobs, and they want to be able to say that you cannot violate the orders of the court. You have to follow them. Now, he may have some of them, those other three crazies and stuff, to say, okay, that it can happen. But there's six of them and everything that knows what the heck is going on. And they got a whole lot of sense, including the Chief Justice. He is not going to allow that to happen. You might as well take your robe off and throw it in the fire. And I pity those folks who don't follow the judge's orders because they will lock them up. And the U.S. Marshal and stuff is going to have to go out there and arrest them. They cannot, if Trump cannot tell them that they can't do their job. And it could get to that point. Hopefully it won't. If my memory is correct, I think this happened once before. Well, I can't think about what the heck it is. Something in the back of my mind says that this happened once before, and that's what the judge did. He said, if you don't do this, you will go to jail. And whoever that department head was and everything went ahead and did his job and told whoever told him don't do it to go to hell. I'm not going to jail. Because there's an old saying, I'm with you, right or wrong, but you go to jail, I'm going home. And that's what Trump gonna tell him. I'm going to Mar-a-Lago. You go to jail. Oh man, this is too much here. It is absolutely too much. What you got, Ted?
I'm gonna change the subject a little lighter.
I know it. We need to get something bright. Throw something bright on the table here. Go ahead.
This ain't bright.
Oh
We
my.
know we had a big old stink about Beyonce doing a country album. So I decided to look up where did country music come from? What's going on? You know, hey, who started country music? Who's the father of country music? So I'm looking it up. And this is what they got. The father of country music is best known for his distinctive yodeling, who was Jimmy Rogers, was known as the singing Baker Man, an American blues pop singer. He was a Gandhi dancer and he was a yodeler.
Hmm.
He was born in 1897, and died in 1933. He didn't live very long, but he was a blues yodeler. So they claimed that he was the country singer. because he was a yodeler.
Mhm.
And he's the father of country singing.
Mm.
But here they say he was the pop singer, very popular. But there was also another Jimmy Rogers, who was a black man. He sang country music, blues, all of that.
Mhm.
Now, who really took off and was really country? That's the question, and made it popular. I remember when I was a kid, there were people that were singing yodeling. They were yodeling. And I'm not going to try to do a yodeling because, some people might not know what it is, and maybe you do, because it's a weird sound. And I never liked this, but, you sort of kind of appreciated their style of music because that was their talent that they did. However, yodeling is not lyrics. Blues, country music is about a story. Who was doing those stories? They say that he was father of country music. Okay, father of country music. But then at the same time, they said he was a pop singer. And on here, there's no show in the late 1800s. He's not blackface because back then, they was doing blackface.
Mhm.
He was just a boy from the Mississippi. He's from Mississippi, but he died at 35.
Mhm.
So his active duty, he was born in 1897, but they claim that he did it from 1910 to 1933. So that made him 13, something like that, when he started, to 33.
Uh-huh.
See, here's the thing that confuses me. A lot of times we don't get our history right because we didn't record stuff like that. We had just, been out of slavery, 40, 50 years and stuff like that. And so they just labeled him as a country singer. He's the father of country singing. So anyway, I thought I'd bring that up because see, we don't really know the real story of this guy. He seemed like, I'm looking at a picture of him, he seemed like a nice guy, looks like a nice guy. He didn't have no black face. He was from Mississippi. You know where, I guess you pronounce it Meriden, Mississippi. You ever heard of that?
Who?
Meriden, M-E-N, no, Maridin. Midland, Mississippi, or Meridian, Mississippi.
Meridian.
Meridian, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of that city?
Yep, pass through it all the time.
Well, that's where he was originally from. So I'm just saying, bro. We gotta know the history of stuff, where it came from, and because they talking about Beyonce from Texas, and that's where all you're gonna hear is religious songs in Texas and Bible thumping in Texas and country music all over the state. And I think it's important. one part here says that he was a blues yodeler, but he's from Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And where was all the black folks mostly migrated in slavery? Mississippi. So we don't know what his relationship with black folks was. We don't know nothing about that. But he was able to make a living for a few years before he died. He died of tuberculosis.
Mm-hmm.
So 13, he won a singing contest.
Let me give you a little bit more history about Meridian, Mississippi. You remember those 3 civil rights workers who got killed and was buried in Mississippi?
Oh yeah, it was there.
James Chaney and
Yeah,
uh, the other 2 white boys, Jewish boys, Goodman and Shermer.
yeah.
Well, James Chaney it's from Meridian, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
They named the street after that young man in Meridian, Mississippi. Everybody who out there who decides that voting is not important, ask these 3 young men who got killed because they were trying to get people in Mississippi to be able to vote, to register them to vote. And they killed them and buried them in this, I mean, literally killed them and buried them right there in a hole in the ground in a construction site. 1 black man and 2 white men. And during those times, most of the time, if any black man come up missing, nobody did anything about it. They were just missing. And most of the people, black folks in the community, knew what had happened, but they couldn't say anything. And nobody was ever brought to justice for killing a black man in Mississippi. But the reason why they found these 3 bodies was because Goodman and Schumer were Jewish. And their folks went to the White House and told the president that they had to find those 2 white boys' bodies.
Mm.
And it just so happened that Cheney was buried right there with them.
Mm.
If it hadn't been for those 2 white boys, they wouldn't have found James Cheney's body. Now, we can have a whole big talk about voting rights and how our folks in the year 2024 decided that it's not important to get out there and cast your vote. Again, we're going to beat that drum. Your vote is important. People died for your right to vote. They were murdered, thrown in a creek, lynched, and burned so you can be able to vote. My people, it is important. That's my word for today.
Well, he came and left many times in that city. He's a very traveled man. And he did play in some of the, he did go to some of the juke joints, the juke joints. So I'm saying he got some of that music from them black folks because he's played
Absolutely.
banjo.
And most people don't realize that Elvis Presley got his stuff from the black church and the black folks. He went to those black folks' blues stores down there around the black folks, and that's how he got to singing and made all that money. He got it from us. For all you Elvis Presley fans out there, that's where he got it from. All his dancing and singing and his his moves and all that, his knee popping and all that, and that came from us, the black folks, and he just took it and stole it from us and made big money off of it, and it's still his family is still making money off of it. Ted, I got to speak about this. I really do, man. Before we end this show here, I got to say something. Mr. Harvey and I been at this stuff for a long time, since 2017, probably 16. When we first started doing this, we talked about education, about educating our people. And if we did not take it seriously to educate our children, they were going to fall further and further behind. It is what, 8 years later, and that story is no more truer today than it was back in 2017 when we first started talking about this. And guess what is getting ready to happen, people? This knucklehead that was put in the White House because some of you folks didn't vote, and some of you folks voted for him, is getting rid of the Department of Education. The one thing that the white folks did once our people were enslaved, and it was against the law to do it, you could not educate a person who was a slave in this country. If you did, if you were caught doing it, you could go to jail. White folks could go to jail for doing this. Because if you keep them ignorant and dumb, you can control them. So where are we at today? We're ignorant and dumb. And these folks are controlling us. And Mr. Trump is ready to finish it off. Look out, people. You don't become educated, you in trouble. And there are, Ted, there are a lot of us, millions of us out there who are uneducated and have no idea what is going on. We don't know our history. If you don't know your history, you are doomed to fail. Wake up, my people.
Yeah, when you talk about education, the thing is that self-education
Mm-hmm.
is probably underrated. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. But there's a lot of smart people out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at some of the top multimillionaires and billionaires, a lot of them didn't get a whole lot of education. But they taught themselves some valuable skills: marketing, selling, selling, selling. They taught themselves a skill. It might have been, like yourself, you self-educated yourself with the IT. They learned coding. They learned all kinds of things that they came up with a product. Henceforth, we got Facebook, Microsoft, on and on. Innovation to me, creativity to me, is one of the most important things as far as coming up with annuities of different ideas, expanding our knowledge. Self-education is one of the most important things, but formal education is good too, because then you learn so many things. You force yourself to learn history. You might take a sociology class, you might take a psychology class, you might take a music appreciation class, you might take all kinds of different little classes, political class, and you learn, and it broadens your horizon because you're forced to do that. Normally, you wouldn't do it. That's the good part about going to college. Philosophy classes, I must have took at least 3 or 4 philosophy classes. Took about 30 business classes. Took about 32, 32 credits of business or more. So all of those things help you learn and all that. But the thing is that you also have to take a bet on yourself, because it's going to be failure. And some people, they have that, hey, I fail in that, I go somewhere else, I do something else. And they keep going and going and going till they find something. And some people get lucky and then it just, boom, this is it. So the thing is that I don't see, and maybe I might be wrong. We know that there are people out there, Ed, young kids, they spend 5 and 6, I dare say 8 hours a day playing games.
Mm-hmm.
You got kids, like I grew up, you'll spend 4 or 5 hours a day playing ball. Now, ain't nothing wrong with neither one of those things, but you gotta have your priority, bro. You gotta manage your time.
Got to
You
throw
have
some
to.
books in there somewhere.
Thank you.
Throw some
you
books
can't.
in there
You
somewhere.
can't. You can't be playing ball. You ain't gonna be playing ball all day, but you might play ball. 2 hours, 3 hours here, and then you come back and play another 2, 3 hours or whatever. It's just like a person like to party. You can't be partying every night, going out partying, chasing girls. You got to manage your time. You only got 24 hours a day. That's all we got, bro. So what are you going? What the thing is? What see? The thing is reading. The reading. What they say, reading is fundamental. Is that what it is? Reading is fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
You
Fun
have
to
to
mental.
fundamental.
Fun
You
to mental.
have to read all the time. Pick up books to learn. Get other people's experiences. People tell you nuggets. There's nuggets in almost every book. There's nuggets to help you if you don't have somebody to hold your hand. Because I don't think you or I, maybe you were, but I've never nobody hold my hand and mentor me and tell me, okay, Ted, you got to do this, you got to do that. But there are people that have had mentors to walk them through every step of the way to be successful. My mentorship was reading books. But then, you have to have a mentor who's done it and been successful to hold your hand. That's the thing, and get you over the hump.
Uh, Man, it is so clear and stuff to most of us folks who are still sitting out there and doing our thing. The first thing that happened, if you look into your community, we don't own nothing. And that's what happened to slaves, that they didn't own nothing. And the next thing, you become uneducated. Look in our community, people, and look in your community and tell me where the library is at. Is there a library in the hood? No, they don't want you to read. Somebody needs to start a library in our community, in these neighborhoods. Put it in the church, someplace where these kids can have some they can go to and be able to read. Do that. Someone out there in our community, put a library out there. Okay, Ted, final word.
Well, I'm just saying that I'm going to keep an eye on this man. That's what I'm doing. Because right now he's running the country.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I most of us probably overlook, and sometimes you have to read like we do and find out what's going on and find out what's happening, why people are doing what they do. And it must be important stuff to get rid of your education because that's what they're trying to do. And to give you a prime example of how bad it is, right after the election, what did Daddy Diaper do? He put out the word that he was going to have a department that was going to look into the government and be able to find waste and fraud. And he put two people in charge of that department. One of them was from India, Pakistani or whatever it was. His name was Vaxawami. Today, February the 11th, Vaxawami is nowhere to be seen in that department. Nowhere to be seen. Now, if people, nobody said anything about it, he hasn't even opened his mouth and said anything after what he did.
And what did he
Back,
do, Ed?
back in December, the MAGA folks didn't like the fact that Musk and Vaxawami had Daddy Diaper's ear. He was listening to them. So one of them ladies up there who was on one of them Fox shows, I don't know her name. I don't even know because I don't listen to Fox at all. I should, but I don't. Came out and wrote into the social media X that she didn't like the fact that Vaxawami was there and he shouldn't be, and Elon Musk shouldn't be sitting up there telling Donald what to do because they were the ones who helped him to be elected. That they don't know what they're doing. Well, old Elon Musk got on his social media platform and he put out some stupid words and stuff and everything that didn't mean nothing at all. And Vaxawami, he wrote something. Now, I'm not a Republican, folks. I'm not a fan of what they do or how they do it, but I read what Vaxawami wrote. And people, if you get a chance, read it. It was excellent. I mean, absolutely excellent. And he talked about the fact it was the same thing that Mr. Harvey just mentioned now, how our folks, all they want to do is play games. How all they want to do is go out to the malls. And the parents are allowing them to do that. That it's okay to go to the mall once you get out of school. There's no studying going on. No book reading going on at all to continue to educate yourself. He spoke about that. And he also reiterated the fact that the reason why we have those special visas that are allowing all of these smart people who are from India and some of these other countries and everything to come in and create the technology that we have today is because those children, when they were growing up, their parents made them learn science and math. And
Wait a minute, let's put a pin in it. They ain't no smarter than black people. I want to put a pin in that because number one, you said it. Their parents made them study,
absolutely,
go to school and study,
and study.
learn your skill, whatever that may
And
be.
your math, those sciences, your math, all of those skills, you had to learn it. And they forced their children to do this. They had to do that. They didn't have a television set that they can look at
Thank you.
every day.
They didn't have no basketball courts and
They didn't have
they
all
didn't have
that.
no games and
They cultivated their children's minds. All of this stuff you're seeing that's happening right now, AI and everything, came from them. And he wrote it intelligently. Guess what happened to him? Let him out. You don't have the audacity to tell these white folks in this country that their children is uneducated. Okay? So this man is no longer seen, unheard of, since he wrote that. I have to give a man the credit. I gave him credit where credit is due. I enjoyed everything he said, and I would repeat it. And I'm telling people now, go read it. Read what he says. You parents, read what the man said. Thank you all for listening to us. As Mr. Harvey so eloquently said yesterday, we need you guys to watch the show. If you're going to watch it, subscribe.
like the show.
Very simple. Subscribe. Just push a button and subscribe. That's it. You don't have to do anything special. Just subscribe. Come on the show. Put comments out there. We will answer them for you. We're here to become or to be a voice and stuff for you folks and stuff out there. Thank you all for listening to us. Bye bye.